start singing. Yes, y'all! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Louisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today show that just keeps going. My name's Greg Tupper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places, or you'll listen to the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local, mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks, Miss 305, Miss 956. She's Ashley Pickle.
Hi, friends. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday indeed.
Are those macaroons on?
They are macaroons.
Mallory really likes macaroons.
I think most people like macaroons. You don't, because you don't like sweets.
I don't like sweets. We did stop at the famous shop that's in Gossip Girl in New York, La Durée, and Mallory got to purchase some macaroons from there. So that was like a highlight
So you
of her
didn't have
life.
like any sweets when you were in New York?
No,
Wow.
did not.
Wow.
I had like a fruity drink at one point, if that counts.
That doesn't count.
Okay, well,
Yuck.
it was pink. It wasn't necessarily fruity,
The
but it was pink.
The fruity drinks are what kill me. I can't do them.
Yeah.
They're too...
It was literally like, it wasn't really fruity. It was primarily Prosecco, so it really didn't do.
Mostly booze is what you're saying.
Yeah, correct. It was just pink in color.
Today
Not in flavor. It didn't taste like pink.
is Tuesday, January 30th, 2023. It is a number of days until Thanksgiving, 303 to be exact. Happy birthday to Phil Collins.
Oh, nice.
It is episode 1722. On today's show, folks, it's Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Thank you. Yeah, we're off our game today. It's Math Tuesday. We are going to dive inside the numbers ahead of Thursday's UIL Realignment. Remember, we're going live 8:45 a.m. on Realignment Day, which is this Thursday. But then, back half the show, we're at the DFW Coaching Clinic, and Matt Stepp caught up with the head coach of the Tyler Lions, Cujo, Coach Rashaun Woods, of course, an All-American at Oklahoma State himself. He caught up with him, talk a little bit of East Texas football, as well as the upcoming realignment, which should be interesting for the Lions. We'll have that coming up here in the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Joey Hill, Ed McElroy, Daniel Agnew, and T.J. Hudson. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. Before we move any further, we do have to do one more thing, and that is spin the wheel. Once again, we're asking you to let us know what we should do with this wheel of all Texas high school football teams. We don't know what we're doing. Right now, we're just selecting a Texas high school football team of the day.
Yeah.
If you have a better idea, let us know in the comments.
LP texted me last night about it.
Oh, yeah?
He said, and I quote, "The wheel can pick the show episode number honorary memorial team." So his example was Lano Jackets episode 1769 show.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good, decent idea. Okay, let's find out who today's episode is sponsored by. Let's spin the wheel.
Spin that wheel.
The wheel is spinning. Let's find out. Today is episode 1722, presented by the Laredo United Longhorns.
Let's go.
Congratulations to Laredo United.
South Texas, stand up.
Today's Texas high school football team of the week. And while we're doing Bits Pickle, why don't we do our most celebrated bit? That's right. It's Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today. By the way, I removed Laredo United now, so they cannot come up anymore.
Oh, good. Which is why it kind of fits in well with like
Yeah.
the number of the episode.
So now they can, Laredo United is now off the list. Congratulations to Laredo United Longhorns.
You've been cut off.
It's Math Tuesday. And it's actually perhaps it's interesting that today is Math Tuesday, considering there's a real argument that this Thursday is the mother of all Math Thursdays.
Yes. At least, yeah. Math or, geography.
It's kind of both.
Yeah, which they go hand in hand.
UIL Realignment is this Thursday. We've talked about it. We're doing our show live, 8:45 a.m., live from Birdville. We'll be rocking and rolling, bringing you our instant reaction to the UIL Realignment. But this is a particularly interesting time because it does allow us to dive into the data. We talk all the time about how UIL Realignment is really just a dump of data. Mm-hmm. You figure things out from there. And so one thing that I wanted to do is, ahead of Thursday's big data dump, I wanted to dive into some of the interesting numbers surrounding UIL Realignment as we careen towards what will be a huge day. And what I love about Realignment is that it is the only day every 2 years that impacts every single team. Every team is impacted. Even if you just find out that you're staying in the exact same district, exact same region, everything's the same, you will have news tomorrow or on Thursday. Mm-hmm. There will be news about your team, which is kind of interesting. And so what I want to do is dig into the numbers a little bit and just kind of branch out, give you a feel for how we're going to be covering realignment coming up here on Thursday. What we're going to start with is we're just going to start with the basics, which is the cutoff numbers, which is the classification cutoffs for each classification. So for 6A, it's 2275 and above. If you have an enrollment of 2275 or more, you are in Class 6A. Class 5A, 1315 up to that 2274. Class 4A, it's 545 to 1314. It's a big swath there. Class 3A is 254 to 544. Class 2A is 105 to 253, and then Class 1A remains the same at 104.9 and below. Basically, if you're 105, you're 2A. If you're under 105, then you have the option of playing six-man football. You have a 1A alignment. But one thing that I realized this week, Pickle, mm-hmm. is that this year is the 10-year anniversary of 6A.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The first football season we had with Class 6A was 2014. Mm-hmm. That was the first season. And so we are now 10 years. Now, if you go back to that is really nothing fundamentally changed. It was really just kind of like a rebranding almost.
Yep.
That's basically, they didn't want to be calling it six-man. They wanted them to have their own classification. So they call it 1A. Everything moved up. So what was 1A became 2A, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to look back on what the cutoff numbers were 10 years ago and see where the biggest changes have come about. So let's go to the next one. And this one, I calculated the percentage change in the cutoff for each of them. So for each classification. So for example, look down at the bottom. Nothing has changed in 2A and 1A. Mm-hmm. That's not a surprise. That is held steady at about 105 students. And until there's I would say until there's a real lack of schools,
right,
or until there's a real uproar from the six-man community to change that, my guess is that that's going to stay the same.
Yes.
Is that 105 is going to be the magic number. If you're 105 and above, you're going to play 11-man. If you're under 105, you're going to have the opportunity to play six-man. So then you take a look at the other numbers. And again, one thing to keep in mind is that they don't choose these numbers willy-nilly. They choose them based on being able to divide them into relatively even classifications. They want there to be a relatively they want them to be a relatively even number of teams in each classification. So for example, coming up this year, in 6A, there's going to be 247 schools. Mm-hmm. And in 5A, there's going to be 250. And then it's 200 in 4A, 201 in 3A, 206 in 2A, right? That's where they want those to be.
Right, and you would assume, too, that most of that goes into, in the playoffs, you want each team to be able to have a pretty fair chance to get in. And, too, just with district, you can't have... There is a cap.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, just think about it this way, okay? So there's 200 schools in 4A, right? Mm-hmm. There's 32 districts. That's about 6.25 schools per district, schools per district.
Right.
Obviously, you're going to need more in 6A and 5A simply because you get in the major metro areas and there's just more. You get to a certain size and there's more of them. But I think what's interesting is that the 5A number the 5A floor, I should say, has risen 24%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Over the last 10 years. The 6A number has only risen 8.3% in that time. So what does that tell us? What that tells us is that I think, and this is anecdotal, is that they've been trying to keep about 500 schools in the top classifications, right? In order to do that, they've had to move that floor up, but that means there's been a lot more teams within that, a lot more schools that have been opened within that about 1,000 to 1,300 range.
Right.
What does that tell me anecdotally? I'll just tell you. This is all about suburbs. Mm-hmm. This is all about suburban growth and the number of schools that have been added that I think they needed to raise that floor to be able to to make that cutoff make more sense.
Well, and in
the Frisco schools are a good example.
Yes, and in a lot of cases too, I think that something that might go a little underrated, and this isn't a ton, but it does add a couple of schools into here. Most of the time, first-year UIL programs that are being added in tend to fall in that kind of 4A range or 5A range, and 4A,
then I
they
would say
get
4A to 5A,
up to 6A. Right. So it's like that adds a couple of extra layers.
You're exactly right. We're not adding a ton of 3A schools.
No.
Like we're not like when Brock started playing football, it was kind of like, oh, a new 3A school has emerged. Yep. Now they're 4A, by the way. We don't add a ton of 3A schools. We do add a ton of 5A schools. And as a result, the population growths have been in the major metro areas, which I think has necessitated that floor to be raised in 5A. But in order to keep that split, to have about 250 in each classification, the 6A number has only moved up a little bit. So really what's happened is that the range of schools within 5A has shrunk. Mm-hmm. That there's a lot of schools that are concentrated between that 1315 and 2275, which is only 900, little almost right about 800, between 800 and 900, as opposed to the 1,100 or 1,000 that it encompassed back in 2014. So that's a little interesting. And then, of course, there's something that everybody likes to gawk at, and that's the extremes. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the largest schools in the state. If you didn't know, these should be some familiar names. Allen remains the largest school in the state. Allen has shrunk.
Yeah, crazy enough. They were over 7,000 2 years ago last realignment.
You remember that Allen was, you're exactly right, over 7,000. And it was like we were gawking at it.
Yeah, because it was the first time.
First time. They've shrunk down by about, I think it's about 100 kids, down to about 6,947, but they are still by far the largest school in the state. Then you get the two of the, you'll see Plano ISD makes up 3 of the top 9, Plano East, Plano West, and then Plano down there at number 9. Conroe's the one everyone always forgets.
Yep.
Conroe's the 4th largest school in the state.
Huge.
It's enormous, 5,200 students.
Yeah, I honestly would have thought that Permian would have been higher than Conroe.
So Odessa Permian is the 5th largest school in the state, 4,905. And if you are wondering like what the fly in the ointment for Class 7A is, you're staring at it right in the middle of that. Odessa Permian, because what do you do with them? There's no other school around them. Like it makes sense. 7A would make sense for Allen and Plano, right?
Yep.
Because they can all play each other. And Duncanville. And
Coppell.
Coppell. It does not make sense for Permian. Mm-mm. Duncanville is next. Galena Park North Shore is next. I just find that interesting that they are the 6th and 7th. They have they're so close in everything, and now they're close in enrollment as well. The Woodlands, because Conroe ISD is enormous. Plano there, and then Coppell, I believe into the top 10 for the first time at 4364. Still that rare one-school suburb in the DFW Metroplex. So that's fun to gawk at, there with the 10 larger schools. But I want to go to the other side. Let's look at the 10 smallest schools that will be playing UIL football in 2024, or at least say they will be playing. The Headley Owls are the smallest school in the state with an enrollment of 23. 23 students in the entire school.
I was just fixing to say, can we really stop and gawk at the fact that that's the entire school? That's not the athletic program. That's not they had 23 kids go out for football. That's boys and girls, 23 kids in an entire high school. Now,
I want to make sure that I'm being clear about this. This is not the smallest school in the UIL. The smallest school in the UIL is Valentine. Valentine has an enrollment of 6.
Oh, my God. Well, they could have a team with no backups.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. But that is Valentine
6
is the
kids.
smallest school in Texas with 6. But Headley is the smallest. That is a football school. Darrozette. There's 3 schools there at 25. Darrozette, Guthrie, and Pickle. Allow me to introduce you to the Indians of Pawnee.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may not have heard of the Indians of Pawnee, but they are going to play football for the first time since 1976, I think it is.
Let's go.
They are going to be bringing back football, but Pawnee, not from Parks and Rec, Pawnee, Texas, is going to be playing football. 25 students. Paint Creek and Patton Springs check in at number 26. There was a while there where Patton Springs was the small school in the state. Looters, Avoca, and Southland both clock in at 27. And then Cotton Center and Lone are the round out the top 10 with 20, a staggering, a swelling enrollment of 29 students, which is just funny considering, like, I don't know, like you want to talk about, you want to put into focus like the varied challenge that the UIL has is that they have to allow Headley enrollment of 23 and Allen enrollment of 6,000. What was it, 970 something?
6,947.
They have to have them playing by the same rules,
Yep.
basically, fundamentally. So there it is. A little bit of look
On top of, all the other sports.
Yes. A little bit of look inside the numbers. The fun thing for us is that starting on Thursday, we'll have a lot more numbers to dive into, including I'll just tell you next Tuesday for Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
My goal is to use math
Oh,
to tell you what the new districts of doom are.
let's go.
That sound good?
I like it.
We
love
a
math.
lateral tease to next Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Coming up here in just a moment, Matt Stepp's conversation with Tyler head coach Rashaun Woods. But first, a word from these goods and services.
I feel like bustin' loose, come on. Get on up. Oh yeah, get on up. Bustin' loose when you wanna sing. Bustin' loose, baby, do your thing. Talking about bustin' loose, yeah.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Wing is the largest residential drone delivery provider in the world, delivering to your home in less than 30 minutes. Order using an app just like other popular delivery services, and Wing's automated drone takes care of the rest. It's fast, safe, and sustainable, and it's now delivering to parts of Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas. You can learn more at wing.com/TexasFootball. Again, that's wing.com/TexasFootball.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
Okie dokie, Pickle. It's time to go back in time to last Friday.
Long time ago.
We went over to Grapevine for the DFW Coaches Clinic, which is one of the finest clinics in the state of Texas. Always a good time out there. Got to see a number of coaches out there chopping it up. One of them is the head coach of the Tyler Lions, Coach Rashaun Woods, the former Oklahoma State All-American, is trying to get Cujo back on the good foot. He caught up with Matt Stepp at the DFW Coaches Clinic. Here is Matt Stepp's conversation with Rashaun Woods of Tyler High School here on Texas Football Today.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football here at the DFW Coaches Clinic, here with the head coach of the Tyler Lions, Coach Rashaun Woods. Coach, appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us here at the DFW Clinic.
Of course. All
right, Coach, first off, you're I think last year when we talked, you had gotten hired maybe 2 or 3 days ago.
Right.
Your head's spinning. You're probably drinking from a fire hose. You're like moving to a new state. You got to hire a coaching staff, get to know all these kids. A little more relaxed this year because you're kind of a little more settled in. You got your feet on the ground, right?
That's right. You guys know what to expect. I have a better understanding of what I'm getting myself into, and got a year behind me. And so excited to get started with another off season. Excited about the future of the Lions, and ready to continue the progress that we started in football season.
You know, I'll say last year, watching, I didn't get a chance to see you guys in person. I watched a couple of games online and then following you guys. The improvement you guys made, especially as the year progressed. You guys were in a lot of games against really good teams. Your district was really tough. You guys are right there in the mix in a lot of games. Overall, the team improved throughout the year. It seemed like as the season went along, the kids really started to understand what you guys were trying to get across and understood the message that you and your coaching staff and the schemes a little bit too. I think they understood it a little bit better. Now that you're into the second year of the offseason, how much further ahead are your kids at this point than you were maybe in July of last year?
The expectations are being met at a higher level because they know kind of what we're going to allow and what we're not going to allow. I thought maybe with us being new and being the first year, there was a little bit of pushback, but as the season continued to progress and as workouts have continued to progress, we know which guys are our guys. So the guys understand that being on time, doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom, and just trying to be all around the best they could be, not only for the team but for themselves is what we're all about.
It seems like kids in general need that structure, need that discipline, and those high expectations. And it seems like your kids are starting to rise to that expectation a little bit. That's what you guys want to see as coaches, because you're trying to develop them not only on the field but as leaders in the school and as productive adults, right?
That's right. And we talk about those things every single day, and they're slowly understanding that. And so that is the part that I thought kept us from maybe doing some extraordinary things, because we had a lot of learning and some discipline things that we had to do in order to be the team that we wanted to, and that's just a process. And so that process is getting easier and easier. The guys are really starting to exceed those expectations that I had maybe already at this point. I mean, our numbers are jumping up. The attendance is consistent. And those are things that you got to have before you can even start to talk about execution on the field or being where you're supposed to be on the field. You got to do those things off the field, and you've got to be there on time every day and do those things the right way before you can get to that point.
And, talking about off season, obviously everybody in the off season wants to get bigger. They want to get faster. They want to hit the weight room, get stronger, all those things. And when you guys get into your football phase of off season, that foundation is already there. Now I feel like now you guys, I'm assuming you guys are going to build on that foundation and really add on to the kids' toolkits that you've already kind of set in place.
Right. I mean, we always start, at least for me, I'll always start from the beginning, from a standpoint of just getting the guys lined up, lining up the proper way, understanding what their assignments are, and just starting at the very beginning, the bare bones of it. And then we'll progress. Now we can progress a little bit faster now because the guys understand what's going on. But that process for the younger guys, or at least when we get those guys in, it'll kind of start over for those guys as well. And so not only are we doing that for the high school, once basketball season's over, we'll restart that process for the middle school kids that will be ninth grade, and try to streamline that deal to make it even more efficient than it is right now.
And then, we got realignment coming up on February 1st. This is your first realignment in Texas, but we know they do realignment in Oklahoma as well. It's on an odd cycle than Texas, but overall, how do you approach realignment? 'Cause I know it's something you really can't control. The UIL is going to do what the UIL does, but from a non-district scheduling standpoint, you got to be strategic about things and try to plan ahead. So how do you and your coaches kind of handle realignment this first time?
Well, we knew we needed to get 2 games, more than likely. Maybe we'll need to get a third, maybe we won't. And to me, it really doesn't matter who we play. I don't put a lot of stock in that. It's always good to kind of look out. It's exciting to see who you're going to have to play and where you're going to travel. But the end of it is really you're focused on what you have to do, doing the things that your team needs to do from a organizational standpoint, from a this execution standpoint, so that we can play with the teams that we play. Last year, Longview, Forney, Lancaster were very, very deep in the playoffs. We played all those teams extremely well and extremely hard. And it's about as tough of a district that I've been in. And it's a lot of good football in East Texas. And more than likely, we're going to have to bring a lunch pail every year because you're going to play those teams around those areas. Even though Longview and Lancaster and Forney has moved up, you still got other teams in the area that are very, very formidable, and we're going to have to be ready to play.
When you kind of map out your non-district schedule, do you try to give your team certain looks? Maybe if a team runs a certain offense in your district, you want to try to see a team similar to that in non-district, just so they can kind of see how to line up against those kind of schemes. And then also, do you want to play good people? Because I'm assuming you would like to have teams maybe expose a few warts and see where you need to correct some things as you get into district when the games really count, right?
Yeah, so I can speak on last year's team, and as far as our non-district last year. When you play teams like the ones I just mentioned, they're extremely formidable. You got 2 teams in the top 10 in 5A1. You don't necessarily have to have a very, very difficult non-conference because you have a gauntlet in the district. You talk about Lufkin, who was very good, McKinney North. All of these teams were very good with winning record teams. The only one that wasn't, that ended up going further than just everybody but Forney, was Lancaster. And even when you look at their non-conference, it was brutal. And so for us, it ended up working out with the level of team that we play. As far as what's going to happen, come February, we've already got 2 games. We're going to play Marshall again. We're kind of locked into Legacy, and so that
play that game.
That's right. That third week, it depends on if you get a 9-team schedule or not. Yeah. And then you kind of go from there, but you won't know that until next Thursday.
And Marshall had a good team last year. Legacy was in 2 playoff teams, so it's not like you're playing good teams, right?
There wasn't anybody that we could just show up and, hey, we're going to roll them. And we actually had to flat out get after it. These are teams that historically have a long history with Tyler. And they were all very, very good. They were well coached. And it was very difficult. Even the ones that we lost were extremely difficult, but the ones that we won, I don't know if we were ever even favored to win any but maybe 2 games. So it was
a gauntlet.
Yeah, it's very difficult. We were fortunate enough to do things at a high enough level to win the games that we did win, and we were right there to making a playoff bid, which it hurts that you don't get that, but it gives us something to look forward to in the next year.
Coach, appreciate your time. It's a great clinic, a lot of great speakers. I know you'll have your notepad out, taking a few notes, take back to East Texas with you. Appreciate your time, and I appreciate what you do for student athletes in the state of Texas.
Of course, man. It's a great place, a great organization, and I'm thankful every day that I've got the opportunity to compete in the great state of Texas and work with these kids.
Thanks, Coach.
There is Rashaun, head coach of the Tyler High School.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football here at the DFW Coaches Clinic, here with the head coach of the Tyler Lions, Coach Rashaun Woods. Coach, appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us here at the DFW Clinic.
Of course.
All right, Coach, first off, I think last year when we talked, you had gotten hired maybe 2 or 3 days ago. Your head's spinning. You're probably drinking from a fire hose. You're like moving to a new state. You got to hire a coaching staff, get to know all these kids. A little more relaxed this year because you're kind of a little more settled in. You got your feet on the ground, right?
That's right. You guys know what to expect. I have a better understanding of what I'm getting myself into, and got a year behind me. And so excited to get started with another off season. Excited about the future of the Lions, and ready to continue the progress that we started in football season.
I'll say last year, watching, I didn't get a chance to see you guys in person. I watched a couple of games online and then following you guys, the improvement you guys made, especially as the year progressed. You guys were in a lot of games against really good teams. Your district was really tough. You guys are right there in the mix in a lot of games. Overall, the team improved throughout the year. It seemed like as the season went along, the kids really started to understand what you guys were trying to get across and understood the message that you and your coaching staff and the schemes a little bit too. I think they understood a little bit better. Now that you're into the second year of the offseason, how much further ahead are your kids at this point than you were maybe in July of last year?
The expectations are being met at a higher level because they know kind of what we're going to allow and what we're not going to allow. I thought maybe with us being new and being the first year, there was a little bit of pushback, but as the season continued to progress and as workouts have continued to progress, we know which guys are our guys. So the guys understand that being on time, doing what they're supposed to do in the classroom, and just trying to be all around the best they could be, not only for the team but for themselves is what we're all about.
It seems like kids in general need that structure, need that discipline, and those high expectations. And it seems like your kids are starting to rise to that expectation a little bit. That's what you guys want.
I told you we will. This is a big time guest that we have confirmed. We'll have Dr. Jamie Harrison on during the show. We'll have him on the phone from the UIL. But there's a couple of other.
Okay, guys, I know the interview was playing in the background. It's stopped now, so we can restart.
Take two in 3, 2. Here's final thoughts with Ashley Pickle that I didn't interrupt.
UIL Realignment coming up this Thursday. A reminder, we'll have our big TFT Spectacular live from Birdville. So if you're a coach and you want to say hi, please come and do that. But if not, we will see the rest of you 8:45 a.m. wherever you're watching this show. So YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. You can come watch us.
Or Twitch. Are we not on Twitch right now?
No. So we haven't been on Twitch for like months.
Pickle!
I haven't told you because it's been a running bit to see how long it would take you to realize it. Mallory and I wanted to see how long it would take you to realize we weren't on Twitch. I wish I might have the actual first date written down.
We're going to be on Twitch on Thursday. Pickle's going to drop whatever she's doing and get us on Twitch.
Probably not.
So I've been waiting for my Twitch alert that's never come.
Yeah.
I thought my Twitch alerts were broken.
No. Twitch in general is just broken.
I don't think that's true.
Anyway, Realignment coming up 8:45 on Thursday, so come join us there. We will not have a regular TFT after that, and we will not have WTF. It's too much running around, and some other people Mallory will be at the East West Shrine Bowl, so we've got too much going on. No WTF.
We really
no
are.
TFT.
For it being January 30th, we have so much going on.
Yes, it's been ridiculous.
Like, for it being like the downtime, because usually January and February is where we can kind of take a breath, but it feels like, man, we're like the Shrine Bowl's been a big deal on TexasFootball.com as well. So, anyway, I can't believe we haven't been on Twitch. Makes me. I'm
excited to tell Mallory that you finally realized.
No wonder. Like, well, the problem is I don't watch our show.
Yeah.
Like, if I watch,
that's exactly why the bit started. Of let's see how long it can take, because that was like our least viewership, and so it was like, okay, let's see how long we can make this.
People love Twitch. The Twitch people love us.
Yeah.
Like, think about them. Like, I feel bad. I want to apologize to our friends on Twitch.
They're probably on YouTube now.
That's going to do it for us. I'm a very disappointed Greg Tepper. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Also on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. Watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dave Campbells.
You ain't going to see it.
Of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Tyler head coach Rashaun Woods for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please give me your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow for This Week in Recruiting on Texas Football.